Okay, today we are moving into angles, and we're going to talk about three different types of angles. The first type of angle we're going to talk about is a complementary angle. So I'm going to write that up here, complementary. The second angle that we're going to talk about are supplementary angles. I'm going to write that in the second row. T-A-R-Y. And the third type are down here on the bottom. Those are called vertical angles, and we're going to talk about vertical angles. Okay? So let's talk about and define the angles very quickly, and we'll give an example, and then we'll do some examples with each of the types of angles and show you how to set up equations and solve for missing angles that you're given. So complementary angles, the definition of a complementary angle are two angles whose sum equals 90 degrees. And when you are talking about a sum, you're talking about adding together. So two angles that when added together equal 90 degrees. So an example, and with all the examples that you're going to see of a complementary angle, or complementary angles, they have to equal 90 degrees. So you're going to want to look for the 90-degree box. And then if we have an A here and a B there, we would say angle. This is a symbol for an angle, like the greater than, less than, with a line through it. Angle A plus angle B is equal to 90. And that's the equation you're always going to set up for complementary angles. The first angle plus the second angle equals 90. And then you will solve from there. Supplementary angles are two angles whose sum equals 180 degrees. Okay? These angles do not have to be next to each other, but most times they are. And I'm going to give you the example that shows that they are. So it's a straight line because a straight line is 180 degrees. And then I'll make an angle like this, and I'll put my variable A here and my variable B there. And if you have two angles whose sum is 180 degrees, that means that those angles are going to be added together and equal 180 degrees. So the equation you're going to use, angle A plus angle B is equal to 180. And then you would solve that. So anytime you see two angles and they're on a straight line, you would use this equation. Angle A plus angle B equals 180. Vertical angles. The definition of vertical angles are two angles on opposite sides of intersecting lines. And if you think about it this way, you could do like an X, and we could put A and B and C and D. And which ones are on opposite sides? Well, A and C are opposite of each other. So A and C are vertical angles, and D and B are also a pair of vertical angles. And the one thing that you want to know about vertical angles is they are congruent. So you could write A is congruent to C, B is congruent to D. Okay? And congruent means same shape and size. Okay, let's go down to our first example. We have angle B, we have 51 degrees, and I notice right here that there's a right angle box. So two angles, they have to equal 90 degrees. So the equation that we're going to write, we realize 90 degrees, complementary. We're going to go our first angle plus our second angle is equal to 90. And then we're going to solve that equation. Minus 51 on both sides. And you get B is equal to 49 degrees. Okay? You would do the exact same thing for the next one. I'm going to let you do this, but you would have this angle, 56 degrees, plus this angle, 3x plus 7, and I'll actually write the equation out for you, is equal to, see that right angle box? 90 degrees. And then you would solve that equation. As I look at the supplementary angle, the second one, we have an angle B, we have 117 degrees there. So what you can do is you can take and highlight your straight edge, and you can see that's 180 degrees. So when there's supplementary, there's that straight line, we know that we're going to do angle A, which is B, plus our second angle, which is 117 degrees, is equal to 180. And then we'd solve this equation. So how do we solve this equation? Well, we subtract the 117 from both sides. Get our variable. B is equal to 180 minus 117 would be 63 degrees. So you would have 63 degrees here. And if you added 63 plus 117, you would get 180. Another one that I'll look over here is, again, you see a straight edge, straight line. And we have 87 degrees here, and we have 6x plus 3 there. They're both two angles next to each other on a straight line. So we would say our first angle plus our second angle has to equal 180. And you would solve that again for x. Substitute x back in to find the angle measurement. Okay? And then we'll move on to our third set of angles that are the vertical angles. And you see a lot of different intersecting lines. You know that vertical angles are opposite of each other and they are congruent. So our equation here is going to be that angle A is equal to angle B. So B is equal to 43 degrees. And since we already have a single variable there, this one is already solved for us. Okay? If I look at the next one, and you can see it on your paper, it's a little bit difficult to see on this video. This says 2 plus 3x, and that's equal to, the angle that's across from it is 62 degrees, or 62. So we will solve this equation. The way you solve this equation, subtract 2 from both sides, and you get 3x is equal to 60. Divide by 3, and you get x equals 20. Now, with our x equal to 20, we need to take this and plug it back in to the original expression. And if x equals 20, it would be 2 plus 3 times 20. 2 plus 3 times 20 was 60, and 2 plus 60 is 62. And 62 degrees over here should be the exact same thing as 62 degrees over there. And that's how you know that they are vertical, because they are congruent. Okay? Give these other examples a go, and let's see if you have any questions. Ask your teacher tomorrow, and have a great night. Take care.